As the concern over the coronavirus grows, sending shoppers scrambling for supplies, doctors are urging calm.
There is a lot more fear than what should be.
Dr. Suman Radhakrishna, the head of infection prevention at Hollywood Presbyterian Medical Center, says the growing fear around COVID-19, as the coronavirus is formally known, is unnecessary. Take, for example, the run on masks.
The masks for somebody who's sick is helpful in terms of not, disseminating the aerosol droplets. But someone who is not sick, perhaps a mask is not going to help or do anything more.
Dr. Radhakrishna says right now in the U.S., the biggest concern is the flu. According to the CDC, 18,000 Americans have died so far during the flu season. 32 million have fallen ill. Only one person has died from the coronavirus here in the U.S., and she says the vast majority, 80% of the people who are infected with the illness, have no idea.
For most healthy people, it's very mild to no symptoms. And other individuals who have it, what has been described so far has been what looks like a respiratory infection with fever, cough.
For those with compromised immune systems or other health issues, it certainly can be a potentially life-threatening disease. Dr. Radhakrishna says 2 simple steps are the best way to protect yourself.
Most important at all times, regardless of whether there is coronavirus or not, is wash your hands and don't touch your face.
That's right. Don't touch your face. That means don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth. But she says really the key to staying healthy is washing those hands. Do it often and do it well. In Hollywood, Leanne Suter, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
It all starts when emergency responders race to a reported shooting. And just moments later, an ambulance that had just arrived starts to race away. But at the wheel is the suspected shooter. At one point, he pulls into a parking lot and stops. And that's when we see he's only wearing a pair of boxer shorts. He then opens his door. Police try to talk to him, and it appears it's all about to end. But it's not. He hits the gas and slams right into several patrol cars. An officer rushes up and opens the door and is about to tase him when the man pulls the door shut and is able to ram his way free, and the chase is on again. At one point, a tow truck driver races into view and gets right in front of the ambulance and tries to stop it, but the ambulance just slams the tow truck out of the way and keeps going. Spike strips flatten most of the ambulance tires, and at various times, rubber can be seen rolling away. The driver opens his door at one point, and it looks like he could be about to carjack a new ride. That's when a motorcycle officer runs up and tries to grab him, but again, the driver escapes capture. Soon the ambulance rims are throwing sparks, and then one of the front wheels appears to lock up, and the driver can no longer steer, sending the ambulance up onto a sidewalk, and it just can't go any farther. That's when officers swarm the cab and try to pull the driver out, but he continues to resist. Eventually, he's pulled free and taken to the ground, where he is quickly handcuffed and taken into custody.
When the Barrington Plaza apartment complex caught fire last month, the focus quickly fell on the building's lack of a sprinkler system. And while fire suppression systems like that are considered vital life-saving equipment, firefighters tend to point to one device that trumps them all: smoke alarms.
They're incredibly important. Not having a smoke alarm is probably the worst case scenario if there's a fire.
Firefighters see all too many deaths that could have been prevented with a functioning smoke detector. But an Eyewitness News investigation has uncovered an alarming trend. Hundreds of public housing complexes across the greater Los Angeles area failing to maintain functioning smoke detectors.
The complex has been cited by HUD like 3 times in the last 3 inspections.
Is that on?
By
Okay.
not having operational smoke detectors.
I have no knowledge of that myself.
The Kings Village Apartments are just one of more than 800 housing complexes in the LA area that receive funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. Eyewitness News found roughly 320 of those HUD-founded complexes recently failed a HUD smoke detector inspection. 97 of those have failed at least twice in the last 3 inspections, and these 6 were cited 3 times in the last 3 checks. Kings Village was one of them.
Can you answer any questions about the smoke detectors?
No, I can't, but you would need to go by the property, by the office first.
Who would we talk to?
We can meet you at the office.
We went to the office, but no one would answer our questions. The management then kicked us off the property. But a spokesman for the company that owns the complex tells us in a written statement The deficiencies cited in the May 2019 HUD inspection report were corrected immediately. Smoke detectors have been in place at all apartments in the community since June 2019. We rely on residents and regular inspections conducted annually and when apartments change hands to confirm that the detectors are in working order. They're not alone. Another example, the Salvation Army owns 6 complexes catering to the elderly which receive HUD funds. Of those 6, 4 were recently cited for smoke detector problems. Says a representative for the Salvation Army, we currently conduct 2 fire safety inspections per year at our properties, repairing any smoke detector safety findings immediately and performing any other maintenance items within 24 to 48 hours that might be required. Meantime, HUD has been falling way behind in its safety inspections. Our investigation shows 93% of them in the LA area were overdue by an average of 300 days. That's nearly a year.
We don't have enough people, obviously, to be monitoring everything 100% of the time.
That's HUD Secretary Ben Carson. He says many times the people who live in HUD-funded housing are to blame for smoke detector failures.
In a lot of the cases where they're not working, it's because people have taken the batteries out of them. That obviously is not the appropriate way to do things.
And there is some truth to that. Here's what we found when we swung by Brenda McLaughlin's HUD unit in Pasadena. The smoke detector chirping, the battery partially removed. McLaughlin tells us she's been meaning to ask for a replacement.
We had to write out our request for anything that's maintenance in the household, and then what we do, we present it to the office, and then the maintenance will do it.
McLaughlin has plenty of company, though. We found roughly 40% of all HUD-subsidized housing complexes in our area have been cited for smoke detector problems. HUD, as well as the managers and the residents of these buildings, quite literally playing with fire. Rob Hayes, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
We begin with breaking news at 11. I'm Mark Brown. An LAPD officer shot during a violent confrontation in a local neighborhood. Dozens of officers quickly swarming the area in Boyle Heights. The officer rushed to County USC Medical Center. Eyewitness News reporter Eileen Frere live.
We are on storm track at 11. More bands of turbulent weather sweeping across SoCal as this powerful winter storm shows no signs of stopping.
It's our first time experiencing the snow, so we're so amazed and excited.
It's hectic, cold, and it's making for a long drive.
First time being in the snow, first time seeing snow, driving in snow, all of that.
Heavy snow piling up in higher elevations, major freeways and many mountain roads shut down because it's just too dangerous to drive, and the CHP forced to escort groups of travelers when they can.
And we have live team coverage of the big holiday weekend storm, including more freeway closures through our mountain passes.